Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win, or you find a way to lose. And you can find yourself being put in an unfortunate position as a result of your own bravery. And Tszyu'S bravery cost him big time. And there's several articles out there where they're kind of touching up on it. I got one that I pulled up, I want to share with you, but I don't need to read an article to anyone. I don't think, who really understands boxing and understands Tszyu'S, to know that Tszyu'S wasn't going to lay down for anyone. That when he had the opportunity to opt out of the fight, that it's just not something that crossed his mind. Even though I think we all probably feel like he should have, especially like third and fourth round. The way that blood was water falling into his face, his corner should have took care of him. The doctor, the referee, they're not supposed to be biased, but his corner should have said, "Tim, we got to save you from yourself. Let's go ahead and stop the fight." That guy basically carved a serious gash in your head with his little, super Ginsu blade-like elbows. You know what I'm saying? Come back, keep your title, rematch, fight another day as a champion. Instead, like this article says, his bravery ultimately cost him, and what seems to be right now the worst possible way. Because not only did he lose his belt, he's sidelined, and it seems like he's not going to be getting the opportunity against Terrence Crawford. And that WBO strap may be lifted off of Fundora, is what it sounds like. And Terrence Crawford could be fighting this guy Madrimov for his WBA title, and the WBO title will be on the line, which will leave Tszyu'S pretty much naked of a champion status, and leave Fundora just with a WBC belt, which we had to see what he does, but more than likely, I think Earl Smith may get that opportunity. But in case you were, sleeping underneath a rock, Tszyu was edged out in a split decision loss to Sebastian Fundora for that WBC and WBO kind of unique unification bout. But they were it's kind of weird the way they chose to do that, right? But nonetheless, they came together to, I guess, spice it up a bit. And he lost his title and, of course, the opportunity to pick up the WBC strap. And that was his first headliner in Las Vegas, which Tim had been talking about for a while. I think he will still have opportunities to come back stateside and show everybody really what he's about. I think everybody's on the Tszyu'S bandwagon right now because the way he pushed through that and fought with that hole in his head against I call him cockroach, man, 6'6" Fundora, who had a 10-inch reach advantage, and Tszyu'S was still putting the Aussie bing bings on him. Now, what I'll say here, and this is from the article, and I'm kind of adding my own words to it, right? It says, although Fundora himself bravely fought through a badly busted nose and showcased plenty of skill, Tszyu'S was heavily compromised due to that, they use the same word I use, the cascading of blood, a waterfall of blood caused by that freak cut. And I think they perfectly word this where they say Tszyu'S was, virtually blinded for the whole fight. But what I'll say here, right? Tszyu'S with that busted nose, that happened in the first round. What direction would this fight have gone if Tszyu'S didn't have all that blood in his eyes and blinding him for the duration of the fight? Like, that's the question, what direction would the fight have gone? In my opinion, it could have only gone one direction, which is the direction that it went in the first round. All downhill for cockroach man, Sebastian Fundora. But when you look at what it says here, the fact that Tszyu managed to convince one judge he won the fight despite being so impaired, blinded for the majority of the fight, that's now left rival promoters running the opposite direction. Because Tim Tszyu scared people. They saw Ozzy, oi, get in the ring and put the Ozzy, bing, bings on Sebastian Fundora. Although Tim Tszyu was extremely handicapped, and he still came out there and had the judges struggling to give Sebastian Fundora rounds. 10-inch reach advantage, 6'5", 6'6", and you got an opponent in front of you who can't see you. Tim Tszyu was not supposed to land any punches, even without the injury. But once he got that cut on top of his head, his blood was falling out of the ring. Tim Tszyu was not supposed to land any punches, and he was still getting through. So, of course, when you look at these other promoters, and they got to put their guy in there with that Australian, you know what they're saying? They're saying, hey, there's this guy named Hood Champion. He has this YouTube channel. He's got this pretty cool, catchy saying. He's been saying that shit since he was like 19 years old, him and his friends. Now it's becoming kind of popular because he's doing this social media bullshit. It goes, I kindly request, in the most respectful way, that you hold your horses and don't take it to the stupid, thinking we as promoters of fighters are going to put our guy in there with that Australian silverback gorilla. Not going to happen. Yeah, my guys are brave. If they would rather cross a bridge surrounded with a bunch of man-eating crocodiles, they'd rather swim through that river of man-eating crocodiles than get in the ring with Mr. Ozzy, bing, bing. Now, a lot of sources insist that Tszyu presents too much of a risk for anybody. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, I think Tim Tszyu, I think he beats Earl Spence. Terrence Crawford, that's a tough fight. Danny Garcia, that's a tough fight, but I think he beats Danny Garcia. I just think Terrence Crawford may be a little too much for him. But it's going to be interesting because Tim will fight him. Tim will fight him. And it'll be interesting because I don't think Tim's just going to sit back. If he didn't sit back and just let Fundora get off on him with that 10-inch reach advantage, he's not going to let Crawford do it. But Crawford is a different species. You know what I'm saying? Crawford's not normal. Additionally, the fact that Tszyu no longer has any belts, unfortunately, he's not in a position to dictate anything. So when you talk about that elite group that he was in, unfortunately, he's just not part of that. So he's going to struggle to probably get those opportunities. And then he's just too dangerous of a fighter for someone to just try to throw him a lifeline and say, hey, we're just going to go ahead and we'll help you out because we respect your valiant effort against Fundora. That's not how boxing works. They're going to pass on him. But the one thing I think that could be to Tim Tszyu's advantage when we start talking about financial implications and the amount of money that can be made, Tim Tszyu is a damn, what's that called? He's a pot of gold if they can make the fight out there in Australia. I'm not saying there's $40 million on the table for somebody, but there's some money out there. That being said, we got to see if Tim Tszyu, just how much him being brave, how much it cost him, and when he does return, can he get back to the mega fight position that he was in? But word on the street is the phone calls have gone cold because they're like, now we know what they've been talking about this Tasmanian devil running around down there in Australia. They may say those Tasmanian devils are extinct. Bullshit. You got Tim the Tasmanian Tszyu running around, and he's no joke. But we'll see, because this is 2024. He fought like 3 times. Then in 2023, 2024, he may only end up fighting once, maybe, hopefully twice. But the second fight later this year, who knows who it's going to be. But We just got to see, man. It needs to take some time to get healed up. Even Fundora needed time to fix his broken nose. And we just have to see what happens. Fundora, Tszyu'S had to get back to the States because that's where the titles are. Rematch? I don't know. I think it's unlikely that he rematches Fundora because I just think by the time he gets to Fundora, somebody would have lifted that WBC belt off of him. But nonetheless, he showed sheer bravery against an opponent that he probably shouldn't even have been able to get to the finish line against. That being said, we'll see just how much Tim Tszyu'S bravery was appreciated if he gets another great opportunity in a mega fight. But right now, not looking good for Tim. Not because he's not qualified and deserves it. It's because he's that goddamn good, that goddamn brave and passionate, and that much of a risk. Y'all keep cool. Aussie, Aussie, Aussie. Oi, oi, oi. Aussie, Aussie, Aussie. Bing, bing, bing. In the breeze.